Welcome to Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And I won't say it.
Well, here's the thing. So, just in case anybody's watching, you do notice that, I've got my hat on. You would think that weather conditions.
It's winter.
Yeah. It's that, and really my hair's not looking so great, so I just throw a hat on. But, yeah, we are in April.
And we're in April, but it feels a little more cooler than that out there.
It does.
The wind is strong.
It is strong,
But,
for sure. There's been craziness around the country, really, with weather conditions, and I know that there's been a lot of scares and things that have happened. So definitely thinking about people that have not just had a little bit of wind like we have, but storms and nastiness. So want to go ahead and this week we're going to do our highs and lows like always, but we are going to make them a little bit different because we know that this week last week was really had a lot of big things go on in schools and in our own personal school, but in Nashville as well. And so we wanted to address some of those things and kind of, like I said, just incorporate it into our highs and lows this week. So for our low, we know that school shootings are a thing, right? And we know that those kind of things happen in a lot of different environments.
Yes.
But it does seem like we're seeing that in school atmospheres. And I guess my question is, I don't know if it's more than it used to be or if we just recognize it. I don't know. I mean,
or we hear more about it.
Yeah. And so, but either way, we definitely want to address that. And so first of all, we just are thinking about that community in Nashville and the families, the teachers, the staff members, just the community in general, and our hearts and prayers go out to that tragedy. On that same day, our own district also had a threat. A 911 call came in and basically had said that there had been a shooting at our high school.
Yes.
And so as teachers, we were not in that building. And so our buildings went on a code yellow.
Yeah.
So a code yellow is basically the idea of like,
can't come out or come in.
Yep, into our building. Our buildings are shut down.
Yeah.
As far as nobody coming in and out. But other than that, most things are going normal and you're just a little more cautious.
Yeah.
So that's where the yellow comes in. So for me in my classroom, I did not tell my students.
Yes.
Because a code yellow is teachers being on more alert and some of those pieces, but when we're not going outside during that time. So kids could have some questions about that. But I did not feel like it needed to be something that my students needed to be stressed about.
I agree 100. That's how it was over here too.
For that. And I think both of our buildings, basically they come on the intercom and just say, teachers, check your email right now. And so then you can see that it's code yellow and that you're just being more cautious. Yeah. So at that point, I checked my door to make sure that it was locked. I went ahead and did the blinds. Yeah. I know that was a little more. Just because I was like, I'm just going to do some of the extras.
Yes. Yeah. And
my students did not notice.
No.
They didn't know anything like that was going on.
And it was horrible because it was kindergarten screening day here.
Oh.
So we have brand new parents with kindergartners in our building. Mm-hmm. So we had to let them know that it was a code yellow, that no one could come or leave.
Yeah.
And, but I was helping with that. So like we went to all the doors and we stood by all the main doors for a little bit just to make sure and they were locked and kind of just keep an eye on that. So we did that, but our kids had no idea. They went to lunch regular. They did everything. But yes, that's what we did here too.
Now, at the high school and at the junior high, they went on code red.
Yes.
Which is the highest alert at that point. So that is when people would barricade or get to a safe spot and some of those things. And so we were not in those positions, but I do know people that had their class in a closet, all of them. I know that it was a very scary thing because once we figured out as teachers, we also had heard that there may have been shots fired at the high school, and you have a high school student, a child. I have a junior high student. As a parent, what were some of your feelings in that moment?
Honestly, I could probably cry right now thinking back to that. But to get a text from your child that says that you're in code red, that they're in a corner and that they're quiet and they can't talk and they hear cops everywhere. Mm-hmm. And she texts me and says, "I'm shaky, Mama. Please just pray for me." And mm-hmm. and Dave and Abby, my daughter, and Maddie have a family chat, and she would say, and we're like, "Listen, we pray daily for you. God is with you. You are fine. You will be fine." And then she would say, "Daddy, please tell me you're on your way down here. Please tell me you're on your way down here, Daddy." And Dave's like, "I don't know. He works in Springfield." And he's like, "I don't." So she did that a couple times. And Dave's like, "I'm heading down. Mm-hmm. I'm parking at the church. I know I can't go in, but I'm going to be close to her." And then she, a little bit later, she'd be like, "I can't breathe, Mom. I can't breathe. I don't think I can't breathe, Mom." I said, "Maddie, you're okay. Take a deep breath. Mm-hmm. You're this." And then this is what we're getting for like 30 minutes. And then we're like, "You're fine." And then she would say, "Mom, my teacher's a Christian. I know she's praying too. We'll be okay." I was like, "You're right. You'll be fine." And then a little bit later, she's like, I hear noises, Mom. I hear noises. I hear cops. We can't talk, Mom." And then she would say, "I want you guys to know I love you so much." Mm-hmm. And we're like, we know. And then we have another family one that's like my aunt and uncles. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Maddie gets on there and says, "Guys, I want you to know I love you so much. Please pray for me." And I'm like, man, it's like so much. And I have to say that I can't imagine what the people in Nashville, because it ended up being that it was a hoax.
Yes, ours was. Yeah.
It was a hoax. And even Maddie, when I saw her after school, she came and she gave me a hug, and this was like hours up, and tears just ran down her eyes. And that night we were laying in bed, and I was like, "Let's talk about one more time. What do you want to do?" And she's like, "Well, Mom," she said, "I just feel dumb, kind of the way I feel right now, because it was just a hoax." I said, "Mad, what you went through was real. It was true. Yeah. It wasn't, even though it was a hoax, you went through the fear of this." But I will tell you, I feel like our school did a great job.
Yeah.
They were very thorough. I even emailed Maddie's teacher, because Miss Helwig, and then Renee Adams, she pushes in that classroom. They stayed so calm.
Yeah.
And I know, like, they had to be so scared, but Maddie's a worrier anyway, and she worries about things. But she said that, like, they stayed calm. They didn't get uptight. Mm-hmm. They did above and beyond and kept things normal as can be.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, you never know. That's what Dave and I said. We said, you never know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
And I think for teachers, because, my husband and I had this conversation where, like, when we go into teaching, I don't think people realize, like, if something happens, there's not a one of us that would not give our life for our children. Mm-hmm. And it's scary to think, like, that you're put in a situation that you might have to do that. And that your child has to be put in a situation that you were in. But we live in a world that's scary and a mess. You know what I mean? And I just think it was just a very emotional, and just when you think you're over it, like, it comes back, because to be a mom and a dad and your kid is scared and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the worst part, is there's nothing we could do. And like I told her, I said, "Listen, I believe in our school district.
Yeah.
Our resource officers, I think, are the very best that honestly, like, mm-hmm. they're very thorough. I think our administration makes great choices." I wasn't as much panicking at first that something bad was going to happen, really.
Yeah.
But there's always that what if.
Right.
And that I couldn't do anything to help my child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That
it's
you
out of your hands.
It's out of your hands.
And you have to rely on other people.
You do.
Yeah.
And we had this discussion. I said, "Matt, this is why we pray daily for God's protection on you. And that sometimes you just have to trust God."
Yeah.
And I know, like, in Nashville, bad things happen. And I know those people trusted God too. So I'm not saying that just because you trust God that nothing's ever going to happen. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it was just very emotional, and it's still very tender to my heart to think you never, and this is with anything, when you go into, because
you go in the car,
when you go to the restaurant, Dave always, like, he always wants to sit and watch a restaurant and see what's going on, because he says you never know. But it is, I think as teachers, like, those teachers at the high school did not go home at 4. It was like, okay, no big deal.
Right.
Like, no matter what, it's always on their mind.
Yeah.
And always,
Well, and I think that one of the things that I want to point out too is we recognize as teachers that parents put their kids in our hands for that entire year. Yeah. And it's not just with their educational needs. It's their social needs. It's their mental needs. And there's also that protection part of it. And I try to make sure occasionally when I send a message home to parents, I'm just like, thank you for entrusting your kids with me this year. Yeah. Because I do understand and I recognize that it is a privilege for what I do. Yes. And I know how hard it was when sometimes even now when my kids and I recognize them going off to their different buildings and stuff. And I'm like, that person has my kid this whole time. Yes. But I do want I want to thank parents for allowing us that privilege. It is an extra thing. I mean, for us, like even talking about like, if something were to happen, we're going to do everything we can. Yeah. But I also know that is a burden on a parent too. Yeah. And so I appreciated, I know our police officers and our staff members were right on top of all of those different pieces, double checking, and admin. And like I said, those parents too, because I know it's hard to be in that church parking lot and not getting up to that school to see what's going on for your kid. I get that, but I also appreciate it because as hard as it is to let go of that control, it was a necessary thing, even if that had been a real thing, and also the students, the students trusting their teachers and having that relationship to go, okay, they're going to have my best interest at hand with whatever's going on right now. Yeah. And even for Maddie to say like, I know my teacher's praying right now, like knowing the heart, your students knowing your heart, I think is a pretty amazing thing. Yeah. And for her to have that feeling. So like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out. And we know not just Nashville has been impacted with that. There's been several things throughout our country, unfortunately, but our heart and our prayers go out to those people, but also just for community members in general. Thank you for your support and in recognizing. I saw sometimes there's this group, right, that maybe has a lot of negative things that gets put out about schools and whatnot, but I saw a lot of united people too, just being really appreciative of what the school district has done on that day too. So just thinking about all of that.
Yeah. So. And I mean, and it's, something else I will say, and I had another person that was in another class. I don't even know what class was it, but I also love, they were saying the next day they came on a Wednesday because our schools are A days and B days. So it happened on Monday. They had a B day on Tuesday and then Wednesday. But the teacher came in and said, they had a discussion and said, okay, these are probably things we didn't do completely right. These are things we need to work on. And I was like, man, for that teacher to come in and also say, hey, maybe I should have done this differently. And I was like, isn't that what we want to do is grow from things? Yeah. And I don't even think they even did anything big, but there was just something
they were
already reflecting on it and already making a plan. And so I just thought but I mean, kudos to our school. Kudos to my daughter's teacher, because as a mama, it was very stressful, and as dad, and I just thankful that it was nothing. Yeah. But it's good conversation. So
absolutely. Well, after that heavier topic, we're going to switch gears. Yes. And our topic this week, April showers. The things that rain down on teachers in April. I mean, it's the month before school gets out, and here we go.
Here we go.
Right?
Here we go.
And it's all the things. Yes. It really is. I mean, I know they do the April showers because of the weather, but and there's that too.
Yes, but
we feel it in different ways in our schools.
Yes.
So first one, well, you did have this going on.
Yes.
Well, that was, you're going to still have it in April? Yeah. Okay.
So we'll start with that. Okay. So kindergarten screening. So and I have to tell you something so funny. So, I mean, this isn't funny, but it is funny. But so we had kindergarten screening Monday and Tuesday. Monday, we had the code yellow. So we have these brand new parents that we have to say, hey, we can't leave, Yeah. Then on Tuesday, and someone pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah, you did.
So we have these brand new parents that were dragging out there for 20 minutes outside. One poor mom had a baby and two kids. So she had to rush out. She had no blanket, and it was so cold that morning.
Oh, no.
No blanket, no coats. I mean, we were out there forever. We're like, welcome to North.
I saw that.
And my assistant principal laughed, and she said, and I went ahead and copied the homeschool forms because I'm pretty sure they're not coming back this next year. My God. So anyway, we had that. So anyway, kindergarten screening. So, I actually love it, but that's a hectic time when you're trying to have school and these kids are coming in. And I don't know if every school does this, but we can screen our kids and the dial, speech, like all these different things, just so we know where these kids are coming in. So that is a hectic thing, kindergarten screening.
Woo. Well, this time of year, because it's getting close to the end of the year too, we try to pack in some field trips.
Yes, that's when you want to do it.
Yeah, and so I have a friend, Lauren Taylor. She's been trying to get the science field trip, I think for like 5 months figured out, and they can't get the dates together. And so on top of that though, like right now, I'm going to throw this in there too. There's like map review that you do at times. And then it's like, oh, but wait, here's this field trip. And wait, you're also trying to finish up your units.
I know.
And so just that whole piece
of trying to balance
gets a little bit crazy. And that even just the map review is one of those pieces that I would not be sad to see go. No. So just saying.
If anyone's listening, hint, maybe.
Maybe on the power. Oh, yes. And we have
and this new jobs and positions.
Oh,
so I always think this is kind of an exciting time.
Yeah,
I don't know. Every time the board minutes come out, I love to look to see who's retiring, who's quitting, who are we hiring. Like it's like a game, like Clue.
You're like, wait, I didn't know that.
I was like,
then you run over to your part. Did you know so and so is leaving?
Are they leaving? Or why are they leaving? Why are they going?
Or you text her. I know you had some people leaving. You're like, haven't they just been here a year? What's going on? And then it's like you find the backstory.
Yes.
And you never think that that's gonna, I don't know. I mean, in 15 years, I should know that there's gonna be switches and changes.
But I always feel like they should come to me before it goes to the board report and be like, hey, Robin, I know you'll want to know this.
Yes.
I'm not gonna be coming back. Like, I don't like to be shocked.
Yeah.
And so, and in my building, I probably know sometimes people do talk within the building.
Yeah.
But no, this time was surprise on things. And so now we're interviewing.
Yes.
So
new jobs, new positions.
And so, I am actually on the interviewing committee for our position.
I feel like she's trying to brag on that.
I am.
How many committees have you been on?
I actually don't work. I'm just a committee member.
Could it be a job just to be like on the interviews? I would love to be the person that is always interviewing others.
I was actually saying that because it's actually very stressful because
somebody's life is in your hands.
Yes, it is. And and especially now that I'm kind of an interventionist.
Kind of.
Well, I am an interventionist.
Okay, good.
I feel like I'm kind of lately, but you're making a decision for a team, and I know they have someone from that team to represent them too.
Right.
But you're giving and you work with these people, and I was just telling someone the other day, is that becomes your family. That's your work family. And so it's actually very stressful and a big decision because some people interview great and are horrible people.
It's true.
And some people are horrible interviews and the best candidates you'll ever have. So it's so hard because you just have
Not everybody can have everything.
No. They're not so blessed.
But you're right.
It is. It's scary. And I think I always like to know, I love when I look at who's on my committee with me because, there's just some people that are very good at really looking at people and not doing just what their wants or their needs or whatever. And I've been very lucky on every committee I've had. So I've been on.
Well, I think it's important to have a balance.
100%
too, because there are people that are very optimistic, see the great in
loves
people.
Everything.
Yes. But then you also need to have the balance of like people that are a little bit more critical on things.
Yeah.
And so, but you also need the welcoming. Like there's just a balance. So I think it is tough to put together those things, but I do think it's exciting. It's exciting. Yeah. We've had some friends that have been put into some new positions we can't reveal yet, but it's very exciting for them. But I think it's also, if you are going into a new position, I think there's the excitement, but also the unknown.
Yes.
And by the way, it's not us going into a new position.
No, it's not us.
I may be a lifer in 5th grade. You never know.
I know. Listen.
But I think there's that unknown part too. And even for the people that they'll be working with, the unknowns of some of that. And so there's those people. But there's also the people leaving. I think it's also like sad to see them go. And you're juggling those emotions of their next steps too.
And I mean, I don't know, we didn't talk about this, but like with the people leaving, I know we don't usually do it to May, but it's starting to think of like retirement parties. So like, even though it's not till May, we're already like talking about like, what's the date? Because May gets so busy. So like end of the year, people leaving, retirement parties. So, that's another thing is like, okay, what does this date work? Oh, wait, well, that's graduation weekend or that's Mother's Day weekend. So it's like to balance that, even though it's only April, you're having planning.
It's the planning of all of that stuff. I've had to be a part of that retirement party planning. I didn't like it. Because people have so many different ideas.
Oh, I know.
Of what and then people will, it's
a lot.
It's way more than I thought it was.
I know. So
take and people that off the list.
And people like different things. Like we have one, our secretary who we love is retiring. I'm
Miss Sheila.
You know what? I don't even think we should mention her name because it makes me so sad.
I am again though, it's like one of those
bittersweet.
I am super excited for her, and I know it's going to be awesome.
And I'm sure she'll volunteer like every day next year. I'm sure that's what I'm going to go with. Don't be shaking your head. I believe. But because some people like fancy restaurants and go and well, Sheila's not that way. So we're like, she's like, no, I don't want anything. She would rather not even have a party. And we're like, well, we don't give you that choice. So nice try.
Yes.
So like just finding out what the best thing is for everybody.
But then you have all the opinions of what somebody thinks. But you're right. I think was like last year we had two different. There was like somebody that was more like wanted this, and the other was give me a card
and a high five.
I was like, no, we're not doing that. So it is a balance.
Yeah, it's hard.
But yes. Also this time of year, along those lines, is those leadership positions that start taking place. And I know your building is going to have a change of principal.
Yes.
So that's probably.
I'm not sure he knows what he got into.
Oh, I mean, I try to give him because he's in my building. I try to give him a little bit, and I think he's like, I hope not everybody is like Weedle.
I know.
He likes it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think.
Yes.
So apparently, I am getting to be known as the what was the word? Kind of I'm not even gonna say it right. I'm probably gonna have to edit this part out. Oh nope, I got it. The heckler.
The heckler.
I'm getting to be known as the heckler.
Oh, I was going to say like the Sunshine Committee. So let's go with a different look.
I mean, that's where I feel like I am, but I guess I'm getting to be known as the heckler. But I think it's because I may be one of the only ones willing to heckle all people. Like, I don't care your rank or position.
I support that.
I will heckle you.
And just so we clarify, because some people who did not know, Jill's assistant principal is coming to be our principal.
Yes.
So that's why we're making this connection. We're not losing our mind.
No.
Yes.
But yes, I'm getting to be known as that heckler. And so I don't really mind it, except it's not a negative thing.
No.
I mean.
You might want to find a heckler. You might want to add it. Like
I feel like Krista gave me that name.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's as nice. I think you could go a little bit more like I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Throughout the thing.
I mean,
heckler seems a little just irritating, like and I don't feel like
Krista.
That's you.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with heckler.
No, I'm willing to say things. I like to
trash talker.
Loosen. I don't know, man. I like to loosen the moments,
Yes.
And when somebody says something silly or ridiculous,
you like to call about it.
I will say
a clarifier.
Yeah, I'm a clarifier.
Yeah, so does that sound better than
I'm a clarifier, and then people laugh, and it's more like let's laugh at ourselves. That's where I am.
Yeah,
laugh at our ridiculous things that we say or do, and move on with life.
Let's call it on the carpet.
Yeah, and let's not act like it didn't happen because it clearly happened.
Because everybody's thinking about it and wrote it down.
All right. But with those new leadership positions, even school board stuff, there's been different stresses in different communities. And so knowing what's going to happen for there, because that does change your school environment.
And I also, while we're talking about boards, I do want to thank everybody that has reached out to us and told us how much they enjoyed us interviewing the board candidates for our area. Thank you. We appreciate that feedback because, we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I've had so many people this week is like, man, I loved listening. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. I really appreciate that. So thanks for
I think it's just being like knowing what get to know your candidates really. And so I've had some people reach out as well. So some other things that rained down in April is they want us to figure out things for next year.
I know. And we're not there thinking about next year yet.
Oh my gosh. What supplies do you need?
Oh, I know. And
we need to finalize these lists. I'm like, your stuff, you don't even send it in until like July.
And the worst part is, at this point, you're got too much on your plate. you end up picking stuff you don't even want. You're like, yeah, pencils. Okay, let's do. I'm like, because your mind. In fact, I finally started a Google page. Whenever I thought of something, I added it at the very beginning of the year. Like, I want this, because when they come down to me, I'm like, I don't know what I want. Like, I want summer break and be home, a swimming pool, water bottle.
Well, but then they're like, well, it's a great time to look at the curriculum. We've been through all of it this year. What tweaks do we need to make? And I'm like,
Shredder. Just kidding.
I get it. No. I do. No. But in the same sense, I'm like sitting there just like, no, I don't want to do it right now. Which maybe goes to our
I know. Spring fever.
Listen,
when that time change happens, it does me in. It does me in. Because when it is light outside at 8:30, I'm like, live my best life. And especially starts getting a little warmer. I'm like, I get in that summer mode. Like, man, I'm ready for summer. And it's hard. Yeah. It's a hard.
Spring fever is a real thing.
It's a real thing, which brings allergies, which you guys might think that I'm super sick, but really it's just the wind blowing every pollen because the plants are blooming and it's blowing in my face. So.
I have had more students gone in the last week. And I'm like, and it's just like, well, they've got this or that, and their face is swollen shut. Like, so, those allergies will get you. You're trying to teach, your nose is draining, you start sneezing. I know. The kids start counting. They're like, I think you got to 5 that time. Nice job, Mrs. Weedle. I'm like, yes, that was what I was going for.
And I love because people walk around like, it's just allergies. I've got allergies. It's like, okay. You feel like you have to clarify. It's just allergies.
Because of COVID.
I know. That's what I mean.
Back in the day, I was like, I did all the time. Like, it's not a big deal. No. I'm not contagious.
I actually said that today. This week I went in and I was like, they're like, man, I was like, listen, it's just allergies. I'm sneezing. I take allergies. I do feel better. Yeah. Like, I'm not sick.
Well, and I think along that, just trying to finish the year, right? Like there's other things like celebrations and all of those pieces that come into play. But we're going to throw in the other part where personally, in your personal lives, there's so many things also going on. I mean, each one of my boys is in a sport. My husband is coaching. Yeah. And I also have all these other things I'm trying to get figured out to finish up the school year. And so personally, you feel like you go home and I'm like, I mean, even after we film this podcast, I got pictures. I dropped a kid off at practice before and after. I mean, there's just, personally, there's a lot of things going on this time of year too.
It is just hectic.
And all I'm thinking is, get warmer into the summer so I can go down my jet skis.
That's right. We love our job.
I know. It is. And honestly, that's the other part is the things that rain down too are trying to soak in those moments with the kids. Yeah. Like these are our last moments together. And we talked about in our PACE group on Friday how you start feeling some kids trying to separate themselves. Yeah. Because they know they've had this great year with you and you're an important person in their life, but they also know that time's coming. Yeah. And so I think that's the other part of that April showers is some of that realization of some of the change that's about to happen. And
it's sad.
It is sad
because our fourth grade goes to a new building next year, and we were just talking about seeing that they start kind of pulling back, and sometimes you start seeing behaviors.
You do,
and it is really hard.
That's one of the
because you're a family, it's so hard.
Kids that have been in your building, they've been here for 5 years, and so that's a hard thing for them to think about. And the nice part is that it's literally across the way,
it is nice.
So it doesn't feel that far, but it's a big change.
It is a big change.
I've said that's one of the nice things about my current position because I still get to see those kids and I'm like, I will see you still. Yeah. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, clearly lots of things shower down in April.
Yes. But they're going to bring Mayflowers.
Oh, and there's always, this is our positivity comes out, may shower down, but then the blossoms.
And the good news is there's so much that you turn around and it's already May.
Also true.
You know what I mean? Because it's so hectic. Like you're like, well, that's kind of how I felt about March, but I'm like, by the time we do all these things, I'm like, okay, we have this, we have Easter. I'm like, oh my
Easter break also gives us 2 4-day weeks.
I know. I'm living my best life.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I know.
It just makes us jealous again, doesn't it?
I know. It is what it is. There's a clarifier. She's back. She's back. Clarifying things for you.
All right. Well, some reminders. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if it sticks around.
Oh, I know.
And if not, actually, I've been putting them up on Reels for Instagram and Facebook. And so I actually think they might be doing better on Reels on those two places.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
Maybe it's because people are getting scared TikTok's going away. I don't know.
Or people like me that don't have TikTok. Yep. I do watch Reels.
So,
which...
that's our audience. You're our audience. People
so
like
if you're
Robin.
Old, if you're a senior citizen, you watch it on citizen. If you're not hip on the TikTok.
Oh my goodness, this is too much. Oh, so fun. But check us out on all those places. If you want to see our expressions and faces as we're talking, you would be checking us out on YouTube, which is always fun.
I know I laugh because, we started off so heavy this morning. Yeah. I want you to know I never wear makeup, ever. All my friends started selling Mary Kay. So today's the first day I put makeup on in like 6 years. And I did mascara and I was like, it's probably running down my face. I mean, literally, I never wear makeup. And today was my only day. I'm going out with friends. I was like, you know what? I spent $800 on makeup.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't really. I'm just kidding. But I was like, I think I'll give it a try. And I was like, oh, that was not a good day to do that. So
I think you're good, Robin. You're good. You're good. I mean, there was only like a few smears going down. Not a big deal. All right, pass it over to Robin.
Okay. The verse this week is 2 Timothy 1:7. You are strong, for the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. That's a tricky little word for me.
Self-discipline.
Maybe I need to go to speech. But I love that one because with what happened this week, God made us strong. He made you as a leader strong. He gave you strong and love for people. And that I thought it was just a great reminder of that. And Jill and I were talking about what our challenge this week was and kind of like what happened. And we want it to be, and we have done this. We do this in our building the beginning of the year, every year. And Jill brought this up and I thought, man, this is great. So you want to share that?
So I had this idea from a book and I think some people just do it in general, but the idea of a prayer walk.
Yes.
And a prayer walk is basically you walking around. It could be a building. It could be a community area. It could be a public place. I mean, whatever it may be. And just as you are walking, just spending that time praying for the individuals in that area or any of those things. The book I read was Draw the Circle by Mark Batterson. And it's actually a great book. I do recommend it.
I've read it too.
And it just talks about the power of prayer. It talks about the power of doing those very things. Yeah. And like you were talking about, Maddie, like we pray for protection on you every day. And I do this in my classroom as I walk around my students whenever they're doing like their evaluate test. And sometimes I feel like God just I'm like, hey, this is a great time. And so do it in those moments. And I told Rodham, and I said, I felt like at some point this week that it had been on my heart to do it for my own building again. Yes. We did do it at the beginning of the school year, but I'm like, I guess this is why.
Yeah. 100%.
And so our challenge is going to be or do you want to talk about what that challenge would be?
Yeah. So what you're going to do is either do it in your classroom, maybe do it in your building, whatever you feel led to do, but just take a morning or during the day and walk. If you go through your classroom, what we did is in the morning before school starts, we just walk. And so we would walk and we would pray for the first grade pod and we would pray for those teachers and we pray for them to learn and to be able to have everything they need. And then we go to the kindergarten pod and then we go to the second grade, related arts, special ed teachers, and just kind of walked away through that. And then if you do it in your classroom, like she said, while they're testing or something, just go and pray for each child. And even before school started, I would do that a lot before school started. I would go and I would stand by each desk and I would pray for that child. And we know things about different situations and I would pray specifically for the things that I know and go through that. So I just think with everything that's going on in the world and with with the shooting in Nashville and the thing at our school, that it would be just a blessing to really pray for your school and your kids.
It matters.
It matters.
I mean, it does make a difference. I mean, even if you're a parent, maybe you're not a teacher, maybe on the weekend or after school, like you can't, I mean, you're not going to be able to go to the building, but you can walk around that building and cover that building in prayer. And I think there is so much power in that. And we don't even recognize, will you know what your prayers do? No. But I guarantee you that the people in that building will feel a difference. And I do feel like there's been a difference in our building starting off our year that way and praying over each area made a huge difference. But I think this is a great time as we're thinking about all the things that shower down on us to be able to do that again. So,
and I'll tell you, when you do this, you will be filled up more than you probably are even feeling. It will make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
And I like it because if you start this way, it becomes a way of life where you're constantly praying for things. When you see situations, it becomes kind of a way. But I think that it's an awesome challenge this week.
All right. Very good.
All right. Well, you know what? This is Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Jill.
And have an amazing week.